All right, so we are hopefully back, everybody, as I have technical difficulties on my end, which also messed it up for Steve. And we lost the original stream. So my apologies for sure. Hopefully you guys can see this. I can't see anything, but hopefully you guys can. I'm trying to see. Oh, there it is. Okay, yep. Good. So thank you, everybody, for hanging in there, for hanging in with us. Technical difficulties happen, I guess, from time to time. And I missed a really good story from Steve about Bernie, the Miami Heat mascot, who's now put away for the rest of his life. No. But Zachary Pollock, welcome in, buddy. Thank you for being here. Hopefully everybody will make their way over to this stream. Hey, we're back. Sorry, Miguel. I've been having a lot of issues with computers the last few weeks, and we're trying diligently to figure this out, or our live streaming days may be over.
No,
we may have to be celebrity live streamers on other people's streams lately afterwards if we don't figure this out. So if anybody knows anything about Safari and Chrome and why it won't load, I would love to hear from you. But welcome in again, Miguel, RVing to Disney, John Hazelton, Dougie's in here. What's up, Dougie? Good to see you, pal. I know it's late for you. Hope you're doing all right. But let's get going. I know Steve already talked about his first mascot, and I'm going to talk about my first one. I actually really like this mascot. I think he's a lot of fun. He's also the mascot for one of my favorite teams, one of my favorite college teams. I think he's really, really cool. He's been around for a while. Yep, we're back, D. Thank you for hanging in there, everybody. I don't know his name, even though he's one of my favorites. I just like him. The Sportings. Well, this is all about mascots tonight, Dougie. We're going to have fun with tonight. But I like the Miami Hurricanes mascot. And, Steve, if you know his name, you can enlighten me, because I have to be honest, I don't know his name.
Is it Sebastian?
It might be. And I guess he's a seagull, right? Or a pelican? I'm not even sure what he is.
He is it's called like an ibis.
Is that what he is? Okay.
Something like I think he's an ibis bird.
I
always thought he was like a stork.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was. I like that mascot. I think he's really cool looking. He's been around for a very long time. His antics on the field are really cool. He's a lot of fun. And that's what for me, when I think about these mascots, that's the one thing first and foremost, they have to be fun. And also they have to look really cool too, or look funny. Something that's going to be memorable. Yes, he's from the U for sure, Miguel. And back in the day, I was a big Miami Hurricanes fan. Back when Jimmy Johnson was there, of course, they've had so many great players come from there. Hey, Jim, more sunshine, please. Welcome back.
Did you see what he just put?
Is he really here? Rich, I do know who Richie Martin is. How about that? He had a 2-run home run today, too, by the way. Jim, just FYI, in the 9th inning. We beat the Astros. Can you believe that? That's probably the first and last time this year we'll beat them. He's a Jersey Beach Seagull. That's funny, Pete. Welcome in, Pete McDevitt. Thank you for being here. But I really like the Miami Hurricane mascot. I think he's a lot of fun. He has a lot of energy, and I really love the way he looks too. Yep, that's my first one on my list is the Miami Hurricanes. I call him a seagull in my opinion, but he's been around for a while too. He's been around for a good 30 years at least, if not longer.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I mean, he was there back in the days when Jimmy Johnson was still there. And Jimmy was back in the 80s. So yeah, he's been there for a while.
That's a while.
Yeah.
He's a great. I love the Miami Hurricanes. When I lived in Florida, I got a lot of favorite teams in college because there's so many of them. But Miami Hurricanes football has always been one of them. So
yeah. Well, did you see what Miguel put?
I did not. Glad you didn't pick it from it. Steve, take notes.
No, but the Miami Hurricanes team themselves have had a few felons on their team.
Just a few.
Just a few.
So.
Before, in school and after school. Oh my God. Hey, Joey's World, welcome back. I'm sorry. I've been having a lot of computer issues lately, and we're in all seriousness, we're trying to work through that. So that we're able to stream, because I'll be honest with you, the computer we have is a Mac computer, and Google Hangouts will only allow you to do it through a Safari or Google Chrome IP, I guess that's what you want to call it. I guess that's the word. I'm not very technical savvy. And we've been having issues with both Google Chrome and Safari. So we got to figure this out so that we don't have these issues every week we do a stream. But thank you, everybody, for your patience and being here. Hey, Michael Riley, welcome in. Good to see you, buddy. All right, Steve, so who's number 2 for you, or the next one?
So, again, I picked notable mascots is what the thing, somebody that faced 20 years in prison type. So my next one is actually for one of my favorite football teams, not my favorite football team, but one of my favorites, and that's the Minnesota Vikings mascot, Ragnar the Viking.
He's awesome. Yeah.
So he was awesome. And we'll get to that in just a second. But he was the only human mascot in the NFL for a very, very long time. But now he's not even there anymore because he thought, first off, he came in, he would ride in on a motorcycle. He would do really awesome, in my opinion, awesome end zone dances and antics and things like that. So, hey, Michael. And then, but after 21 years, he thought he was worth just a little bit more money than he probably should have asked for. Turns out he was pretty human after all. He was making about $1,500 a game and wanted a contract with the Minnesota Vikings for 10 years at $20,000 a game. Slight increase in pay from $1,500 to $20,000. So the contract for 8 games a season would have been $1.6 million for 10 years. And if you did a count of the preseason games, 2 preseason games as well, it would have been $2 million contract over 10 years. That's what he wanted. Yeah. So he agrees that he messed up, and they've started a petition for him that's gotten over 9,400 signatures. But so far he's still not the mascot back. He's not been welcomed back by the Minnesota Vikings. So
and he probably won't be.
Most likely not.
Yep. Real fast, I do want to say Michael Riley asked very nicely, and we want to congratulate Michael, everybody, in the chat. He graduated high school today. That's a fantastic.
Congrats, Michael.
Yes, that's a fantastic accomplishment. Our youngest son actually graduated yesterday as well. Mason graduated from high school. It's a great accomplishment, Michael. Congratulations to you, buddy, for sure. Absolutely. And we're glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Harvey into Disney says, wow, mascots make way more than the cheerleaders. Hey, Alex Downs, welcome in. Good to see you. You know, that's a good one as well. I wouldn't even be able to venture a guess as to what cheerleaders make. I wouldn't even be able to know.
I would guess it's not much, but
no, probably not. Probably not. Absolutely. But yeah, that's a great pick. He had been around for a very long time. I did like him as well. But yeah, that's asking a lot, man. I would have took $1,500 a game.
No doubt.
Yeah.
To ride around on a motorcycle and play with people?
Yeah, exactly. Just have fun at a game, and he's making $1,500 and he wants more? Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
I don't know what he's thinking. But obviously he's learned his lessons, and now he's not getting anything a game. I think
got a little greedy.
Yep. Absolutely. But Alex Downs, doing well. Thank you for asking, buddy. Let's see here. I work for free. Yeah. Joey's World said they would have worked for free too. I think I might have too, actually, just to be able to get into the games and watch them for free too. That might have been enough.
A mascot too.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree. So the next one for me that I like, I wouldn't even really necessarily call I'm going to say these, and Steve, you probably know where I'm going. I wouldn't know if they're really mascots, but they're entertainment. And it's the racing sausages with the Brewers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Milwaukee Brewers.
With the Brewers, they do the racing sausages. I think it's at the 7th inning stretch. Yeah. And I think they're fantastic. That is so much fun to watch them. Now, down in D.C. with the Nationals, they do the racing presidents.
Yep.
And they always talk about how, I think it is, Teddy never wins. Teddy Roosevelt never wins. They kind of do that on purpose. But the sausages were first. They were first, and they've been around for a while. I think they're a lot of fun. I would love to go see a Brewers game just to watch those 4 guys race during a game. I think they're a lot of fun. I love the sausages. What do you think of them?
Yeah, the sausages and the presidents both make my honorable mentions because
Yeah.
they are too funny, especially when they try to sabotage each other and like knock each other over and try. And once you fall on those things, you're not getting back up hardly. So yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, Sandy Claus Logan, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I really think that the 7-inning stretch is fun. Look, I love it. I think it's one of the great things that we do in baseball for sure. But when you can add a little something to it like that, it just brings a different experience kind of up a level. I think they're so much fun. I love it down in DC too with the presidents. They do a good job with that. There's also another one somewhere where you can race against somebody. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Where the guy's he's like got a mask on and he's actually he's like a professional sprinter and he gives you a head start. And if you can beat him, you win something. I can't think of what his name is.
I didn't know that. And Dougie's headed out. Dougie, thanks for stopping by. And Dougie, I believe Dougie's his new series of Scotland starts tomorrow.
Nice.
So everybody go check that out. He's working really hard on that, and it looks really good.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait to see that, Dougie. And good night, buddy. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And Patrick, Zippity Doodad, welcome in. Good to see you, pal. Hope you're doing well. Was he in earlier? And I apologize if he was.
I think he was briefly before we got cut off.
All right. Sorry about that, Patrick. I'm glad you're here, Zip. Good to see you, bud. Now, our being to Disney says $100 to $150 a game for cheerleaders, and that's the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which are the famous ones. So those cheerleaders bring in big money in merchandise like calendars and appearances for the brand. Yeah, they do. I mean, they really do. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, all their calendars for sure.
And Dougie said he's starting his filming tomorrow. It's still going to be a while before it comes out, so that's awesome.
That's all right.
And I know Zippity Doodad Patrick is at the Boston Red Sox game tonight, so we appreciate you stopping by from the bleachers or from the seat. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. We have to talk about Dustin Pedroia at some point too. But Kay Atwood, welcome back in. Good to see you. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in with us. I know we had some technical difficulties earlier, so I'm glad you're back. But, yep, sausages for me. That's the next one. What about you, Steve? Who's next on your list, buddy?
So, next on my list is probably the only thing this team has had to root for in the last, 60 years, and that's Mr. Met. He's been with the team forever. He's the mask. If you couldn't guess, he's the New York Mets mascot. He's been around since 1962, which is a very, very long time. This is one of those historically terrible teams that I was talking about that needed something to root for, and this is one of the guys that can be root for. He has been elected into the Mascot Hall of Fame for his tenure. In 2012, Forbes magazine listed him as the #1 mascot in all of sports, which I don't find him that appealing, but his design especially is just a baseball head on top of a body. He was the first ever Met to be represented by a bobblehead doll. And then at one point,
he was the first, even before a player?
Yes, he was the first Met to ever be represented by a bobblehead doll.
How about that? Now that's interesting.
So,
wow.
And he's also they have what's called Met money, which is like gift certificates, $1, $5, and $10 denominations. He's instead of a president, it's Mr. Met on those. So he's been around quite a while. He's done a lot of things, and he's got a lot of accolades because of his tenure. He's even got his own Build-A-Bear workshop character in the store next to the field. So as much as I just really don't like him, I don't like the team, and he's just there, but he's been there so long and he's given them something to root for. Occasionally we'll have a decent season and they go back in the tank for a decade. So it's just being there and showing up as long as he's been there doing things speaks something for Mascots. So I don't even know what number I'm on, but mine's Mr. Met.
Gotcha. And I want to say hi to Samantha Lowe and Jelly Shirneys for being here as well. They just came in. Samantha, I hope you had a good time. She was at Magic Kingdom a little bit earlier too, Steve. I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm really jealous of this whole Disney After Hours villains thing. So
I know, which we will talk about before the end of the night.
And it ends like a week before I show up at Disney World. So
I know, it's crazy. Yep. So we are definitely talking Disney before we end tonight, folks. I know we did not last week but there is some stuff to talk about. So hang in there with us. We appreciate it. No, I actually like Mr. Met. I think he's fun. I've seen him in some of the Sports Center commercials as well. He's very recognizable. I haven't been to a Mets game, so I don't know what what he does at the games to really say, how interactive he is with the fans and how great he is in that respect. But you're right. He's synonymous with the Mets. He's everywhere. You see him a lot. So he made my list as well. I definitely think he does make the list. I think he's I do like I get it. It's just a ball on top of the man's head, but it's different. It's a little bit, I think it's kind of cool looking. Mr. Met made my list as well. So I get it. And I'm not a fan of the Mets either, but I do like the mascot. I think he's kind of cool. I wish I could go to a game to actually see what his on-field antics are like and how he does.
Mm-hmm.
According to Pete, at this point, he collects tickets based on the team's performance. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's terrible. But well, they're definitely in New York. The Mets are definitely second fiddle to the Yankees for sure. Kind of a tough act to follow, though. But so there you go. That's a good pick. The next one for me, I'm going to go different. We're going to go outside of baseball for a minute here. And this one's been around for a little while as well. I think he does really, really well. We're going into basketball now. And we're going to go to Benny the Bull with the Chicago Bulls. Fun mascot. Does a lot of stuff at the games. I think he was a lot more popular and vocal, and you saw more of him back in the days of Michael and Scotty and those guys, and when they were really on TV all the time and the crowds were really, really big. And he was great back then. He's still around, but I like Benny the Bull. I think he's a good mascot, especially in basketball. They all have him, but I do like Benny the Bull. That's one of my picks as well, Benny the Bull. What do you think of him, Steve?
Yeah, he's okay. He didn't make my list, but he is a recognizable mascot for sure, and he's been around forever. And like you said, he's he's not really faded off, but he was more visual when the team was winning.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, much more prominent back then. I agree.
So yeah, he's all right, but which I live close to the Chicago, not close, but I'm the state next to him.
Yeah.
And I really can't stand most of the fans in this area that either root for Chicago or Cincinnati, so I don't like either of those teams or any of the mascots. So so yeah, it's one of those situations. So he didn't make my list.
Yep. Well, hey, look, I'm not a Red Sox fan at all. I don't like them. I probably dislike them more than I dislike the Yankees, which is kind of hard, being down in Baltimore. Usually we're Yankee haters first, but for me, I think it's more Red Sox. But I actually like the Green Monster. I think he's a cool mascot. And he's relatively new. He hasn't been around a long time. Now I'm getting off topic. He's not my pick.
Well, is he on your list?
He did make my honorable mention, yes.
Okay. Well, just to sidestep that, because it was interesting. Patrick was sending me the photo from the game that he's at the same time I was reading about Wally, the Green Monster.
Mm-hmm.
He is hated by Boston fans.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. I was reading about it. They do not like him. Diehard Boston fans hate him. I'm not sure why. He's not. But Boston is the sports city that the rest of the country tends to dislike. So it just kind of goes hand in hand. They wouldn't even like their own mascot, I guess. So.
I guess. Amanda, Lucky Minute, welcome in. Thank you.
Hey, Amanda.
Good to see you. I don't know. I know it's kind of off topic, but I like the Green Monster. I think he's fun. He's a cute mascot. I think he's kind of cool. But
I think the one thing I will say, I think it's neat that they named him Wally because the Green Monster is a wall.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I do think it was clever, but
it is.
He's got his shorts pulled way up into his stomach, right. And it's just,
Well, here's the thing. Mascots are supposed to be dorky. They're supposed to be funny. They're supposed to be cheesy. That's the point. You know what I'm saying? Let's not overthink this.
Either that aspect or they're supposed to be incredibly physical and antic-driven.
Yes.
Slapstick, which
absolutely.
We're going to get into. So
yes, major slapstick or something like that as well. I agree. A couple things in the chat real fast. Pete says, I'm there Monday. Looks like we will get Sale on the mound. Oh, okay. There you go. So he's going to a Red Sox game. There you go. Arvine the Dizzy says, Utah Jazz has a cool logo. I always thought the J in jazz was a musical note. I thought they should have kept the mascot as a musical note and not a bear. I didn't know it was it. Was it a musical note at one point?
I don't know, but it's kind of funny she mentions that because that's the next one on my list.
Well, that's all right. Well, that's good because it's your turn. Is that what it is?
It is the Utah Jazz Bear. So,
okay.
He's been. I don't know if it used to be a magical note or not, but he's been around. The Bear's been around since 1994. Mm-hmm. So he's done so much for that team and so much for that city that the governor actually declared back in 2013, October 10th, 2013, declared it as Jazzy Bear Day in recognition of for his 20th season with the Utah Jazz. On the court, or Utah? Yeah, on the court. So I think what sport we were in. He's one of the most antic-laced mascots there is, but off the court, he puts in countless hours of community service, public service, that kind of stuff. So he's an important citizen for the Utah Jazz. Does a lot for that city not during the games. He was inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame in 2006, which was one of the originals to do so. And he's suffered numerous injuries due to the things he's done, including tearing his biceps and rupturing a tendon in his calf. So that's a guy that really puts into his craft, and I kind of like that. So, but he's done things like getting shouting matches with the Cavaliers. He's dumped buckets of water on a Rocket fan accidentally, and he also dropped a birthday cake over a ledge onto people below. Now the knock on him is that everybody thinks it's fake and staged, so it's not like he's actually doing this stuff. But still, regardless of whether or not it is or not, he is still being recognized for those kind of things. So
he's putting on a good show.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's doing the entertainment that he's supposed to do.
Yeah, whether it's scripted or not, he's doing a good job.
That's exactly right. Hey, he's a great pick. Yep, I agree 100%. And that's exactly what it's all about. First off, and you kudos to you because you put a lot more into this than I did. I just looked up some of the ones I liked, but you really went in depth with them, Steve. So I'm glad you did because it brings a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? Level, to this, and I'm glad you did for sure. But that's a great pick. The fact that he got a special day, it shows that it's not just about your on field, but what you do in the community as well. And I know a couple of the ones for me that are local. I'm going to talk about them as well and what they do for the community as well. So that's a great pick. I agree 100%. He's definitely a good one. The next one for me, and again, a lot of mine are just ones I think are a lot of fun, very, very funny looking, that bring a lot to the table when it comes to what's the word? Entertainment. It's the entertainment side of it. So the next one for me for sure is going to have to be Big Red. Western Kentucky. I think that's got to be one of the weirdest yet funniest mascots that's out there, in my opinion. I don't know what everybody else thinks. He's been around for a little while. He's made himself known on a couple of the SportsCenter's commercials as well. I really like Big Red from Western Kentucky. I think he's fun. He does a lot in the games, and he's just a lot of fun. What do you think of Big Red?
I don't even know what it is. It's like,
I don't know what he is either.
It's like a big blob that just has a mouth. I mean, he is kind of funny,
Yes.
but I honestly it's one of the oddest mascots.
Yes,
in all of sports. So.
I agree. He is definitely one of the oddest mascots. But I love that about it. I think it's like, what is it?
I think that's part of the allure that drives people to him is trying to figure out exactly what it is or I don't know. It's just a big red just a big red blob is what it is. So I don't know.
I agree 100%. Zachary Pollock, welcome in, buddy. Thank you for being here.
Amanda just said, I'm sorry, Amanda. Their local mascot is a mosquito. And it's not a joke, she said.
A mosquito? Is that a college team? I wonder if she's talking about a college team.
I don't know, but anything as a mosquito, I'm not sure would be the the way to go.
No, not at all. Oh my gosh, how about that? That's funny. Arvine to this says mascots are important for not only a team but the city, state they are in. Everybody loves to represent.
Yep.
I agree. They absolutely do. Yep, absolutely. Mosquitoes are scary, Jelly says. I don't know as a mascot, though. But there you go. So that was my next pick. Big Red. How about you, Steve?
All right, my next pick, which I said earlier when you got cut off, that I stayed strictly in professional sports for just because that's just what I focused on. Mm-hmm. So I just decided to stay in professional sports. But there are a ton of great college mascots like you've been naming. So, but my next one is KC Wolf from the Kansas City Chiefs. So
that's the lion, right?
He's a wolf.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah. So KC Wolf from the football team, they're one of those teams that wound up changing their mascot due to Native American heritage, like we talked about. Yes. They used to have a guy named Warpaint that would run around. He was a full dressed Indian chief. It had a big headdress and everything. And I think he would drive around Warpaint was the horse. The mascot was actually supposed to be the horse with a Indian chief on top of him. So they had to obviously for reasons they had to get rid of him. So back in 1989, that's when KC Wolf came in. But he also not only does he do the football games, he also does major league and minor league baseball games as well. Nice. And he does all kinds of stuff. He was also in the inaugural class of 2006. Became the first NFL mascot inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame. He also, one of the things he's known for the most, in 2007, he aided security guards in tackling a fan who had come onto the field. And then he followed it up with some bodybuilding poses. And that's one of the things that he has been most known for. But again, another one of these guys that's dedicated to his craft. In 2013 suffered a spinal injury while practicing a stunt. So he's just another one of those guys that really gives to his craft and really makes a difference for not only the team but the community as well.
Nice. Great pick. It's funny because Arvine says she always thought it was a rat.
That's not there are a lot of people. That's actually one of the common things is they think it's a rat. It looks like a rat. And he really does. Depending on what he wears. If he wears his KC jersey, he still kind of looks like a rat. But when he wears like a beige suit, sometimes he drives an ATV around the field. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when he wears a beige suit, he looks like a rat. Sure.
It's true. It's funny. But great pick. You're right. He's not been around for long. The Chiefs for the longest time, like you said, they had like someone dressing up. And that person may have been do we know if they were from real Indian descent?
I don't know. It was a full Indian chief head. It was just a man, as Alt said, with a full Indian chief headdress. So I don't know if it was a real Indian Native American descent or not. Okay.
Gotcha. Yep. Great pick though. Definitely a great pick. And he'll be around for a while for sure. He has done his homework. I agree. It's Joey's World. He really did a great job on this. I'm just naming off ones I like.
I just like bringing those odd facts.
Yes. No, they're not odd facts. They're great facts. I think they're fantastic. That, like I said, that brings a little bit of level to the conversation. Pete says he'd like to nominate Arjons as the Resort TV mascot.
I already thought he was the mascot.
His hat can go in the Streaming Hall of Fame. Sorry, off tangent, my fault. It's so funny because it's true. God bless Arjons. He is the man. He really is the man. But he is for sure. When I think Resort TV 1, I got to say this off topic, but it's true. I think Resort TV 1, I think Josh, Jenna, Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
It's not the two of them to me. It is Josh, Jenna, and Arjons. Yep. When he's not at a stream, it just doesn't feel right. Do you notice that?
And he's another one of those mascots that does a lot for his community outside of the
heck yeah.
The because I can't wait to meet him, but I've heard so many different acts of kindness and the things that he does for people, those top-notch mascots that deserves a Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Richard's fantastic. I can't wait for August as well to meet him. I did meet him. I met him for 30 seconds. For 30 seconds back in October.
You guys will forever be the ones known as the people who snubbed Arjons.
it wasn't his fault. That was Melissa's
Yeah.
fault.
She wasn't feeling well, correct?
No, she was not feeling well that night. It was a bad night for her. I felt terrible. But Jelly Shirley says, okay, I didn't know who the Kansas City mascot was. I looked him up. Yep, he looks like a rat.
Yeah.
It looks like he's related to Chuck E. Cheese. I didn't even think of that. That's true, too. Oh, my God. That's so funny. He's a great dude. Pete says he's a great dude. Did Fantasmic with him the other night. Had a blast. Good. He is the man, the myth, the legend for sure. R. Johns is the man, which is why he is the Disney legend. Yep. He is. He's great. Absolutely. Well, the next one on my list, now we're going to really start getting into the biggies, in my opinion. And I'll go local at this point because, look, I love this mascot. I think he is one of the best mascots out there. He does so much for our community around here. He goes to all kinds of different charity events. He goes to schools. He goes to local, events all over the place. He came one time for my nephew who has cerebral palsy. My sister's son came to an event for him. He is fantastic at the games as a season ticket holder. We saw him all the time. He is so funny. Comes into the crowds. He walks the entire stadium, not just on the field. He goes up into the third deck, the second deck, the lower decks. He's all over the place. He's in the back where the stands are, where all the concessions are. And that's the Oriole bird for the Orioles, for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm sorry, folks. I know it's a homer pick, but I absolutely love our mascot. He is so wonderful. He does so much. And Walter will tell you, we seek him out. At games, we seek him out. He will stop and take pictures. He goes up on top of the other person's dugout and is stomping on the dugouts for the other team sometimes, and will antagonize them. He comes out before games and pulls little kids out of the stands and brings them out onto the field and plays wiffle ball with them. He's just a fantastic, fantastic mascot. We're so lucky to have him. I mean, he's everywhere on the uniforms. He's on the hat, for crying out loud. I love our mascot, and that's the Oriole bird for us. Steve, what do you think of the Oriole bird?
I mean, I'm not familiar with them as much as you are, clearly, but that's why that's a perfect example of what somebody does for the community and what these mascots actually mean to people. So he's another one of those that right now the fans need him. So it's great that they have somebody to turn to that has that much involvement in the community. Yeah,
he does. I mean, and again, you're right. With the team being where they are, there's very not many people in the stands. Well, he makes it fun. I mean, he really does. I don't know. He's awesome. On Mother's Day, they'll come out with another Oriole bird, Mrs. Oriole Bird, his mom.
Oh,
it's so fun. It's just funny. It's really funny. She's dressed in her dress and she's got the glasses on and the wig. It's just so funny. I mean, they do it. He does. This person, I don't know if it's the same guy. Because the Oriole bird's been a mascot of the Orioles almost since day one, almost since 1954 that they've had the mascot. They've had him for a very long time. I mean, he's been the logo for forever. But I love the Oriole bird. And R. Johns, there he is, Richard. We were just talking about you, buddy. Somebody called him. Somebody called him and said, Richard, you got to get on their stream. But
thanks for coming in, buddy.
Yes, Richard, thank you for being here. But I'm sorry. I really love the Oriole bird. He is the man in this town. He's awesome. We love him up here. We really, really do. And he does so much for the community. I mean, he'll drive hundreds of miles to go to what's called Ocean City on the East Coast, kind of our beach area for events and stuff like that, and then drive all the way back the same day and go to an Oriole game. He just does all kinds of great charitable work as well. We love him. So that's my next pick. Andrea Houston, welcome in as well. Thank you for being here. But all right, so who's your next pick, Steve?
Okay, so the next one for me is probably one of the biggest mascots in the history of all of sports. I cannot stand him. But for what he does for entertainment, might be the greatest and most recognized in the history, like I said, of all sports. And that's the Philly Fanatic. I cannot stand
the Philly Fanatic.
I cannot stand the Philly Fanatic, but he is very entertaining for fans. He's very entertaining for baseball. He is the most sued mascot in sports history. Let's start with that because of what he does. But here are some of the things he does. Besides riding around on ATVs, he taunts visiting teams by dancing provocatively in front of their dugouts. He flashes them, does things like that. Stands on the roof of the Phillies dugout at the seventh inning stretch, putting hexes on the other pitchers. He warms up in the bullpen. He shoots hot dogs into the stands with a pneumatic gun. Which he goes to different commentary booths and does things with them. And he buffs the heads of any bald fans in the stand when he comes up to them. So, I mean, the guy gets involved. I can't fault him for that. Mainly one of the reasons why I can't stand him is because some of the things he's done to the Dodgers over the years. But he has been.
It always goes back.
Hold on. He has been. I had to throw that in there for you because I knew you'd enjoy it. He has been the most recognizable, and he does the most different things too. He got involved at Star Wars night with a lightsaber. He dressed as Rocky Balboa, being based out of Philadelphia, and had a boxing match with some. I mean, he does a lot of good things. And here are some of the honors that he's made. He's been voted the best mascot ever by Sports Illustrated Kids. They just don't know any better. And in 2008, Forbes named him the best mascot in sports. He was a charter member into the Mascot Hall of Fame in 2005. He's one of several recipients of the Great Friends to Kid Award. And he's one of only 3 mascots from the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And he's also got Good Morning America. He was on Good Morning America. So, I mean, the guy is the mascot has been around, done a lot of good things, I'm sure, but I just don't like him. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the way he looks. I don't know if it's what he does. I just cannot get behind the Philly Fanatic, and I'm sorry.
You're funny. Let me say hi to a few people. Jeff Dolwhip Dad's here. LSU Mom's in here. Donna Jaworski's in here. And Captain Akron's in here as well. Thank you all for joining us. We definitely appreciate everybody coming in. Just a fun topic tonight. Andrea Houston as well. I don't know if I said hi to her earlier, and I want to say hi. Jack Twaddle's in here as well. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We definitely appreciate it. I love the Philly Fanatic.
I
don't care if he picks on my team, your team, or somebody else's team. It is what it is. He is so funny. He does his job better than anybody else. His job is to entertain his home fans and make the other team look as bad as he can, and he does it to a T. He's so entertaining. You're right. Some of the most famous things he's ever done was against the Dodgers. I mean, I remember the thing he did with Tommy Lasorda, where Tommy Lasorda beat him up, where he brought out the look-alike kind of like doll or whatever. That was so funny. But that's what makes it so great. That's the point.
No, he is good. I'm not saying he's not good at his job. He does. I think he crosses a line way too much. Because he's the most sued mascot in sports history. I mean, and there's a reason for that, because some of the things he did, like if he gets away from that stuff, maybe that's what annoys me, because some of the things he does, I think are over the top and ridiculous, and it drives me nuts. And most of it's the stuff he's getting sued for, but maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Right. And Jim says at the height of his popularity in the 80s, the San Diego Chicken toward Major League Baseball. I saw him at the old Tiger Stadium. He performed his shtick the whole game. Well, we'll get into him because he might make the list too. G. Wilson, welcome in. Thank you for being here. So I think you're Philly Fanatic. He made number 1 on my list. He was my number 1 guy.
I figured he would.
Yeah, he makes
number 1 on a lot of people's lists.
Well, and I think deservedly so. I mean, I get it. I mean, he picks on certain teams maybe a little bit more than others, but I really think he does. He's fantastic. I mean, he really is. And I think who the other person said is kind of true too. Jelly Shirneys, we were talking about the Philly Fanatic. Isaac Nail, welcome in as well. Thank you for being here. I'll tell you who's next on my list. I think he's funny. Again, talking about needing to really be good for his team. This one needs to be good for his team, because G. Wilson's now. I need to go get some mouthwash. But the next one, hey, this life of ours is in here. Good to see you.
Hey guys.
Thank you for being here. We definitely appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed Galaxy's Edge. I know you were out there. I saw some of your videos. Looks like you've been having a great time. We're jealous for sure. And we hope you're doing well. But the next one for me is I got to talk about Billy the Marlin for the Marlins. I think he's funny. One of my favorite Sports Center commercials is the one with him in it when they're doing the afternoon soap operas. Did you ever see that one with him?
I've not.
It's so funny. If you ever get a chance, go look that one up. He's very good. He's very entertaining. He's all over the place. Everybody knows who he is. He's very interactive with the fans as well. He also gets in the faces, so to speak, with the other teams and things like that as well. I love Billy the Marlin. I think he's a lot of fun. He just is great. I think he's a really good addition to the Marlins. He wasn't always their mascot, but he's been around for a good portion of their history. So that's my next pick is Billy the Marlin.
Yeah, and outside of what Miguel had reminded us of 1 or 2 seasons, they have had nothing else to root for except that mascot. So that's right. That's good.
Yeah, no, he's fun. I think he's a lot of fun. I think he does well for them. And he's very popular down there. I know down there they do like him a lot. And Miguel or somebody in Florida might be able to attest to that as well. But he's a lot of fun. And hang in there, folks. We are almost done, and we're going to talk Disney in a little bit as well. Steve, who's your next pick? I got one more for me.
You only got one more?
I only got one.
I got 4 more.
Okay.
Well, I'll go through. I'll save these 2 for honorable mentions.
Okay.
So I'll move up to number 2 and go with Hugo the Hornet from Charlotte. And
he's a good one.
He was actually designed by Cheryl Henson, who is Jim Henson's daughter. So, and he was created in 1988, which is 1 year before Hurricane Hugo came. They almost changed his name because of that, but they decided not to. But he one of his stunts was he jumps off of a trampoline, threw a ring of fire, and dunked a basketball. Well, during that stunt, the ring of fire fell over. The fuel that went across it started spilling, and the fire crew used the wrong fire extinguisher, so it didn't put the fire out. So it was a 19-minute delay. The smoke filled the arena because they couldn't get the fire out, and they couldn't get the chemicals off the floor. So it kind of he changed the rules for mascots to some degree. And then he has been retired though since they became the Pelicans. But he's a 4-time winner of the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. I fell in love with him when his dunk was bug on a windshield. He jumped off a trampoline, dunked the ball, flipped up, and splattered himself on the backboard. And I fell in love with him from there. So my number 2 is Hugo the Hornet. That's
fantastic. He was great. Well, obviously, they changed their name, so it makes sense that he has to retire. But yeah, that's a great pick. I agree with you. He was a lot of fun for sure. Chills, welcome in. Chills TV's here. Thank you for being here. We definitely appreciate it. But that's a fantastic story. I didn't know that happened. Did anybody get hurt from that when it fell on the ground?
No, it was just on the court. I'm sure it did some damage to the court too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I'm sure it burned up the wax or whatever the buffering that they put down. So
Yep, for sure. Good pick. And yeah, my number, the next one on my list, RVing to Disney says, got to go, picking up my daughter from camp. Thank you, Stephen Mouse Talk. I always enjoy sports talk. Everyone have a great night. Thank you, RVing for Disney, for being here. We definitely appreciate it. Yep, we're just finishing up the sports side of things. We'll have some Disney talk here in just a minute as well. But the other one on my list, this guy would have been number 2. Number 1 was Philly Fanatic, but we already talked about him. But for me, it is, Jeff talked about him a little bit earlier, it's the San Diego Chicken. I think the San Diego Chicken's a lot of fun. He has been around for a very long time. He's had his own antics over the years on and off the field that I think are fantastic. He was a constant on This Week in Baseball with Johnny Bench back in the day when they used to do the shows on Saturday mornings in the 80s and 90s. I love the San Diego Chicken. And you're right. Somebody else said he would travel around the country. He did. He was the San Diego Chicken, but he was almost like baseball's mascot to a point because he would be at other stadiums as well. He wasn't exclusive to his own. And I just really enjoyed the San Diego Chicken, who, if I'm not mistaken, and Steve, you can help me with this. I think he's now retired. Is that correct?
That's what I was just confirming as you were saying that, because I think he has been retired, but I'm not 100% sure. Jeff may know better in the chat, but he's also next to Mr. Met and the Philly Fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the three that was inducted into Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame. So,
yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry, not Mr. Met. The Philly Fanatic and the next one on my list and the San Diego Chicken are the three that have been inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Gotcha. Okay, so there you go. What do you think of the San Diego Chicken, in your opinion?
Oh, I think it's phenomenal. But he's on my honorable mentions. Most of his antics to me were the same, but he was very entertaining, and it was prior to a lot of what I started watching. So I didn't get to experience him like everybody else did.
Right.
I know his importance, and I mean he's even been. I don't know how many people played the San Diego Chicken, but there's been several that have been fired from the job. So,
right.
But,
oh my gosh.
But yeah, I don't know exactly that. I don't know as much about him as everybody else does. I do know he is very popular.
Gotcha. Jelly's Journey says the San Diego Chicken pretended to put him in her mouth when she was a baby. It freaked her sister out, made her cry. Her sister still hates him today. He was really a lot of fun. He really was a lot of fun. He's something else. G. Wilson says San Diego Chicken would visit our local minor league baseball team every year. And he did. That was the one thing. I mean, he didn't just stick to just San Diego and the Padres. He would go all over. He would go to minor leagues as well. And that's great. That's what you look for. I love the Chicken. And he was on baseball. He was on This Week in Baseball every afternoon on Saturdays. It was awesome. Well, there you go. So who's your number one, Steve?
Okay, my number one is Yuppie, and he is from the Montreal Expos. Was from the Montreal Expos. We'll get to that in just a second. But he started back in 1979 for the Montreal Expos. After the 2004 season, when they moved to Washington, he was kind of left in limbo. He was also designed by one of the designers for Jim Henson, who designed Miss Piggy and Statler and Waldorf. Mm-hmm. She also designed Yuppie. He was the first mascot to be thrown out of a Major League Baseball game against the Dodgers, when he would take off running and land on their dugout, and it was being annoyed by him, is what he said. So they threw him out. He's one of the only three people to ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But
I remember him now. It took me a minute. I know exactly who he is.
He's one of the most. Yeah, he's good. So he in 2005 though, they weren't going to keep him as a Nationals mascot. So he came back to Montreal, where he is now the Montreal Canadiens hockey mascot. So he's now their mascot. He's the first official mascot to be switched between two major sports. And he's just got an accolade of awards, and he's even one of those guys that's taken part in a lot of bets with people. And I think his bet was with CM Punk, if I remember correctly, or is that I could be one of my honorable mentions. No, that was one of my honorable mentions. So he's done a lot with those, and I think his bet was with Jimmy Fallon. And when they lost, when the Canadiens lost, he had to wear a Rangers jersey, I believe it was, in front of the stadium, and post at least 10 different photos throughout the site and on the Canadiens Twitter page. So,
oh my gosh.
So yeah, my number one's Yuppie.
I forgot all about him. You're right. Since with the Expos being gone, I just forgot all about him. He was awesome. He really, really was. I miss the Expos. Excuse me. I miss the Expos. I wish they could get the team back in Montreal. I really do. But yeah, great choice. I love him as well. I miss him in baseball. I know he's around in hockey, but I miss him in baseball for sure. So, do you have a couple honorable mentions as well?
Yeah, just real quick. My numbers 3 and 4 actually was Jackson DeVille, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot.
Oh yeah,
that guy. He flies in on zip lines, bungee jumps off the top of the stadium, slides down a rope on the scoreboard. He does a lot of stuff, and of course, against one of my teams again. See, I put several of the guys that against my teams in here, but The Colts, they changed the NFL rules of mascots because of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Colts. The Colts filed a petition against him, and the next game he spent in the cage, so it was like a caged animal. So he's done a lot of that, but yeah, he does all that kind of stuff. And then the other one I had on there was Bailey, who is the Los Angeles Kings hockey mascot. He's the one that has the Twitter feud with CM Punk. He's even jumped off of something and elbow dropped onto CM Punk like a wrestling move. He's another one that's got a long standing history of things with the fans and community service. So that was my other one.
That's so funny. No, those are great picks. Welcome in, Brandy and Dave. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. That's great picks. They're all great. And that's the thing. Mascots are fun. A lot of them are big in the community. They do a lot for folks. It's what makes them so special to us. We love them, whether they're local or not local. It's what really helps to make the entertainment factor that much more incredible at these sporting events. We love our mascots. We really, really do. So we hope you guys enjoyed that part of the Sports Night tonight. We wanted to do something a little bit lighthearted because in the next few weeks, we're going to have some really what we think are controversial topics, and we really hope you come back for those. And I definitely mean controversial. And we'll have hopefully some special guests on as well to get both sides of these topics. So be sure to check those out as we get closer to next week. We'll be sure to hopefully kind of advertise what that next one's going to be. We got to pick through a few. But definitely for sure, heading in for a late dinner, everyone. That was awesome tonight. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate it very much. Morgana, the kissing bandit. Yes! It's Joey's World. I forgot all about her. She was around for a while. She would sneak into stadiums and kiss some of the players on the field. I know here in Baltimore, she kissed Cal Ripken one time at one of the games for sure. And she would go off to jail for that too because she was trespassing. Do you remember her, Steve?
No, I don't. Now I have to look her up, though.
Look her up. Look her up. She was something else, let me tell you. But I do want to talk some Disney. We definitely want to talk some Disney because there's been some things going on the last couple weeks, especially last night. And we'll talk about that first and then a couple other things. Of course, the Villains after hours party was last night. Now, I don't know if anybody in the chat was able to go, but Steve, did you see any of the any videos of last night?
I saw zero.
Really?
I as much as I want to see it, I got tied up last night, and I have had an extremely busy day today. This is the first time I've even opened YouTube when we started our stream, so it's been a busy day. I
can tell you right now, it was pretty neat. I definitely highly recommend that you go watch the video of Maleficent the Dragon going down the street at night with the the fire breathing. It was the only one. It wasn't a parade. It was just her roaming kind of around. I think she went through a couple different times. It's really neat at night. It really enhances the whole experience for that dragon a little bit more from what I saw. That's just from video. I can only imagine what it was like actually being there. They played special music too. I was watching. I think we all know who the Tim Tracker is. They were there. They thought it was pretty intense, which is kind of cool. So that was kind of nice. They also did a dance party out in front of the castle where they had a DJ playing a lot of music, flashing lights all over. So kind of like a dance party, which looked really cool. And then they also had a stage show. And I do recommend you go check out the stage show. The stage show had Hades as the star. Megara was in it as well. And some of the other, really well-known villains came out.
Is that the Villains Unite the Night show?
Villains Unite. Yep, that was really neat. They had a special overlay on the castle that was projected on where it looked like the castle was cracked. The entire castle was cracked all over. It had cracks going through it, which was really neat. That was really kind of cool. So lots of fun. It looked like it was a lot of fun. No character meet and greets. That's not what this was about.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the downfalls for people, but it wasn't supposed to be, and they had said that up front. But I thought it looked pretty cool. I don't know what everybody thought about it in the chat. If anybody has any comments in the chat, please let us know. I'd love to hear from you because it looked good.
Well, I'm a huge Villains fan. I mean, that anybody that's watching me knows that. I'm very disappointed that there are no meet and greets because outside of that, you're paying $109 for 3 hours of extra rides and a show. And I can't remember if there's like a fireworks maybe that might have all been part of the show. But that's not a lot for me. That's more than usually around a 1-day ticket for an extra 3 hours of low riding shows. Now, you pay that for other things, but like Mickey's Not So Scary you can get for like $70, $75 as an annual pass holder, 80 or 85, maybe not. Same thing with the Christmas party. And there's so much more to do during those events. You get more time to ride the rides. Plus you get, at Halloween, you do trick or treating and they do free desserts and stuff around. I just think that's a lot of money to not include some of those things like meet and greets like they do in the other events.
Understood. I'll say this to play devil's advocate. I actually really like the idea of the after hours party. I think it's well worth it because I think you can get a lot done in the 3 hours. You can almost get as much done in the 3 hours that you would in a regular day because the lines are literally, you're talking 15 minutes at most for Mine Train on an after hours, and everything else is probably going to be in the 5-minute range. So I thought personally that it was a really good thing. And that's just me. I thought it looked like it was going to be fantastic.
Yeah, no. If you want to ride rides, by all means, it's great to get on the rides for that because you can pretty much walk on anything you want. Right. As a villains event, I want more of the villains and I want more things to do. Now that doesn't mean you can't just you don't have. Obviously, people will just go ride the rides, but they could do a special parade. I think. Special fireworks show, special events. I mean, just meet and greets. My favorite character meet and greets are the villains, and they're not having any of them. So it kind of bummed me out that you can't see them for that much money.
I understand. I totally understand. But the other thing I did want to talk about was the fact that on the monorail right now, they have a special overlay on the monorail of all the Toy Story toys. So if you're riding
monorails or just
I'm sorry?
On all the monorails at Disney World, or is it Disneyland?
Disney World.
Oh, really?
At Disney World. So that's kind of cool. I saw pictures of that as well. So that's really neat. So if you're down there, be sure to check out the monorails because they got all the toys. They look like they're riding the monorail, which I thought was really kind of neat.
Inside the windows?
Yeah, inside the windows, which is really kind of cool. So I think that was really neat as well. I love when they do stuff like that. They've done that specially with other stuff too. I know they did it. I know they've done it in the past with Marvel as well, where they put the Marvel characters on there, or the Incredibles, or maybe it was the Incredibles.
Yeah, and the Disneyland monorail has stuff on it, and I think it's permanent because when Nick was over there, I was watching it on his. But yeah, and hey, Brandy and David, he agrees the lack of characters at the villains party seems completely counterintuitive. So. He's using big words tonight, but he is right. I agree.
Oh my God,
my buddy Dave. And okay, well, it looks like we just lost Walt again. So I'm guessing that we might be calling the stream. So Walt, if you're in the chat, let me know for sure. But I will tell you that the Shep family is currently live at the Happily Ever After fireworks. So if you want to go over there and check him out, please do so. Unless Walt comes back very shortly, this is probably the end of our stream. So if anybody has anything else they want to say in the chat, please do so. While I'll plug for Walt because I know what he would say. We want to thank the Live Place, Dean, Dreamers Empire, and www.theliveplace.com. So please go check him out. Also check out Disney Dan, who is Walt's other partner channel. Yes, taking over his channel again. Sorry. So go check out Disney Dan. He was not able to go live tonight. He'll go live again next week. But go check him out. He's another partner channel for Walt as well. Also for me, I go live on Monday nights and Saturday nights with Walt, of course. And then I've started a new venture with the Shep family, Zippity Doodad, and Brandy and Dave from Brandy and Dave. We go Wednesdays at 9:30 with a show called Dis and That. And we will come check us out. We'll be on Brandy and Dave stream this week at 9:30. Walt goes live on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock by himself with Mouse Madness. He goes live at Thursday with Walt and Melissa both at 8 o'clock as well. And then, of course, we do this show together. So I'm going to mess up Walt's tagline for the end, so I'm not going to try to do it. But insert Walt's tagline right here. Yes, I may have said that too fast. It's Dis and That, not like dissing that. So it's this and that. Come check it out. But guys, we appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for being here, especially through all the technical difficulties we've had tonight. But all I can say is thank you all. We appreciate every single one of you and spending your time with us, especially on a Saturday night, and hanging with us when things like this happen. You guys are phenomenal. Please make sure you stay tuned next week. We'll probably have a controversial topic next week with some special guests. We'd love to see you out here. So go check out all the channels that we mentioned. He's probably got the link below. And until then, we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye, Amanda. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Everyone have a fantastic night. We will see you later.